Everyone, welcome back to the channel. Robert Doyle here with another update from the World Economic Forum. There was a lot of things happening at the World Economic Forum today, and I have a great video that breaks it all down and really starts to talk about what's going on and who are the chosen ones. Let's get into the video. Boop. All right, here guys, here we are, live from Davos. Let's hear what this has to say. Check it out, guys.
In our annual meeting last year, 2022, we had 2 crypto sessions, and this year we have 7, several of which have already happened. They've been really engaging and interesting. Yeah.
How would you compare it then? Like in previous years, we've seen crypto companies on the promenade. We've also, it seems this year is a bit of a muted presence, and we're in the midst of a crypto winter.
I can't really comment.
So she's talking about there not being as many crypto companies at Davos this year, right? Because of 2022. A lot of the scam, the fraudsters, the high liquidity or high equity traders, the people that lost all of their money, they're all gone now. And they're only ones are left are the serious companies like Circle, like Ripple, HBAR, Casper, LCX. Those are the serious companies that are still around. And those are the projects you need to be learning about.
To what's happening on the promenade and why we have the folks that we have here, I can tell you that from the work that we do at the forum, and my work in particular as head of blockchain and digital assets, we are looking at use cases, case studies, usability. And when we talk to entrepreneurs and we are investigating what they're interested in, there continues to be a lot of excitement because the potential to build new products remains.
All right. Since we're in the midst of trouble in the financial markets, in the economy globally, worldwide, and especially in the crypto markets, there's some criticism that this is not the time to throw parties. It's not the time to have excess. But in your view, why is it necessary to have these conversations right now at the WEF?
Oh, I don't think of it as a party. It really is a moment to bring cross-disciplinary leaders together to talk about potential solutions. In these meetings that we have where we're talking about blockchain technologies and applications, we see a lot of enthusiasm and excitement, and it's really inspiring, actually. So it's really about making those connections so that the work can continue throughout the year. So does it feel like a party? No, it feels like a really engaging conversation.
Meanwhile, you've released a report on DAOs.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah,
All right, we don't need to get into the DAOs, but last year in 2022, they only had 2 meetings or sessions about crypto. This year, they had 7, right? Next year, who knows what the number is going to be, guys. But understand this. DLT, Distributed Ledger Technology, digital assets are here to stay, and they're not going anywhere. All right, here's a clip. Fam, Stefan Ingeves, I can't say his name, I'm sorry. Former governor of Ritzbank. You want a central bank to produce payments. You want a central bank to produce a payment system that you can make large payments and small payments 24/7. You can actually buy a payment system off shelf because the technology is out there.
Yeah, no, the point here is that finality is a legal construct. And you need a legal framework. It has nothing to do with technology. And from that perspective, everything I said in my earlier intervention had nothing to do with the crypto this or that or distributed ledger. That's a completely different issue, a completely different topic. I was only talking about what happens when you run a central bank and technologies change over time. New technologies make it easier, though, for money to reach everybody. And that means that essentially what we're talking about is sending money from one cell phone to another real time. And that's a worthy vision for the future. It should be possible, in my view, if you run a central bank, to make available a payment system such that you can make large value payments 24/7 and small value payments 24/7. If central banks choose to do that using their own currency, having defined finality, which is incredibly important, and in addition to this, what you also have to define is the concept of legal tender, which is on the whole issue of finality. If you do that, with a fairly high likelihood, I think that most central banks then would produce a product, money, which is better actually than private sector produced money, or monies using the plural. But having said that, of course, if you deliberately run your country or economy in such a way that you deliberately destroy the value of your own currency.
And how you do that is by printing an unlimited amount of money and keep raising the debt and keep raising the debt. That's what we're dealing with here and around the world right now.
Then nowadays you can actually technically buy a payment system off shelf because the technology is out there. And in that environment, of course, it's not surprising at all about the Zimbabweans and the Venezuelas of the world that the general public will choose to use a private sector produced currency in one form or the other, because what you produce on the public sector side is so incredibly bad, so your first choice is always to get rid of it and get rid of it as quickly as possible.
And this is why central banks are looking to private companies like Stellar, like Ripple, like Quant, to build the infrastructure for instant payments. When you can move millions of dollars for pennies, that is something that is going to change the entire world forever. Banks can settle instantly with each other. Value can be used instantly. There's no more waiting, guys. The value in this is extreme. Banks are going to save 60 to 80% while making their customers extremely happy. That is what banks are there to do. Make money and make customers happy. They're going to do both. That is fantastic.
But then we get into a completely different topic, and that's why a worthy objective of a central bank is to, let's say, to stick to a 2% inflation target. Because that's where...
But that wouldn't make us interesting of a panel. Come on.
No, but it is. It truly is, because this is why you raise the issue of what is going on in Venezuela and what is going on in other countries. And given that nowadays you can buy this stuff off shelf because the technology exists, it's not so hard to actually produce a system of your own. But if central bankers stick to what central banks are supposed to do, then much harder.
Wow, I thought that was a great clip, guys. Fantastic. Ripple partner Novati has built a bank. International Bank of Australia has obtained as restricted banking license. The bank will be able to leverage Novati's existing payments ecosystem with a global operating base. This is a really interesting article, guys. It took them 3 years to get this license, but now Novati, that owns 91% of this bank, will able to use this for digital assets and whatever they need to do in Australia. That's a huge bonus. Okay, check this out, guys. This is, I think it's Representative French Hill. I don't know if he's a Republican or a Democrat. I just want to play this for you. He has the right way of going about this, and there is a new Congress in session, and they are going to have a digital assets panel where they're going to have different leaders trying to figure out what are they going to do with digital assets, to create bills to really help us grow in the United States with digital assets, because we need help. But listen, this is a great
blockchain right now is an emerging technology. There are industries all over our country that are looking at how can blockchain or a distributed ledger be useful in their business to cut down on agency costs. And those don't always have to be completely disruptive. They might be more gradual as that innovation takes place. Right now, for example, I love the comment the other day where somebody said a transaction using Bitcoin takes so long my coffee is cold. So this is not right now a technology that's ready for prime time and a real-time payments industry.
Okay, either this guy is not well read in the technology that's available today, or he's a puppet for big banks, right? Bitcoin is not going to be used by central banks and banks, period. The reason why is there's no KYC and there's no AML. KYC is know your customer, AML is anti-money laundering. Without those two things, plus a few others, these banks can't use it. They will not use it. This gentleman saying the technology isn't ready. He's obviously doesn't understand the technology if he feels that way. So I disagree with him here, but he does come back a little bit with the next part.
But we want to make sure that America is the place for innovation in fintech, and blockchain and distributed ledger technology is part of that fintech future.
It has real consequences to not have a framework in place. I'm not saying that.
This guy, I wish they would educate these anchors a little bit better on digital assets, or they need somebody there to comment back to this representative, hey, why not use Stellar? Why not use Ripple? Those technologies are available and they're saving people money. It's making a difference in people's lives. Instead, you have him talking about a Bitcoin spot or Bitcoin ETF here. It's cringe.
That Sam Bankman-Fried didn't bring it on himself, but...
And it's all about SBF, man. Just forget about that. The guy was a fraudster. It has nothing to do with the technology. The guy stole money. He lied about it. He bought his parents hundreds of millions of dollars worth of real estate and God knows what else. The guy was a fraudster. Get over FTX. Let's move on. Let's start talking about how this digital currency and this DLT is transforming people's lives. Look at the aid that's being sent all over the world using the Stellar Development Fund. Instant payments to people that actually need it, that are in a life or death situation. That is game changing. That is something that is changing the way that the world works, and people's lives are being saved with this technology, but nobody talks about it.
We certainly enabled some of that to be offshore, and it's going to help. It's going to help the industry, and it's going to help the technology if Congress could get its act together. Do you think there should be a spot Bitcoin fund? That's not going anywhere now either.
Yeah, so that's what we want to explore with this Digital Assets Committee. I think you'll see us look at a privacy law, a federal privacy law. I think you'll see us consider a stablecoin bill that we made progress on in the last Congress.
Guys, stablecoin bills are being talked about all over the world. Japan, Australia, UAE, the UK, obviously, all over. They're pushing Canada, some places in South America. They're pushing stablecoin regulation because that is the first thing that's needed to be used for cross-border payments. That is the first thing that they need to figure out.
Work from our leader, Patrick McHenry, on the committee, and then Chair Maxine Waters. I think you'll see us explore what are the ramifications for the securities market, and work with the Agriculture Committee in the House and Senate on the commodity aspect of it, trading the coins and running, how should the exchanges be overseen. All that's on the table, and all that's going to be a priority for this year.
Great. The clip was all right, but I do think they need to work on it. All right. Excited to see what is this? Bradesco? It's Portuguese, so I'm probably saying it all wrong. I apologize. One of Brazil's largest banks has performed its first tokenization of a financial asset through a Bolsa Octa. Brazil using Corda and AWS Cloud. So great seeing DLT being used in impactful modernization ways, right? So this is pretty. Let's take a look at this really quickly and we will get through this. All right. Bradesco, one of the biggest banks in Brazil and Latam, has entered the crypto era, being one of the first institutions that harnesses blockchain tech in its operations in Brazil. The bank announced on January 13, 2023 that it had tokenized the first batch of bank credit notes valued at almost $2 million, guys. Here you go. Value being issued on ledgers, guys. This is what we want to see. Soon, trillions. Today, millions. Soon, trillions. Botim enables money transfers to 200 countries through MoneyGram. Very interesting. AstraTech started that collaborating with MoneyGram will allow it to leverage their security and offer Botim users good financial services. Let's just take a look at this and we will end this chat. All right, UAE-based VoIP solution Botim, subsidiary of AstraTech, has enabled MoneyGram's fintech capabilities into its services, offering to enable money transfers to 200 countries. MoneyGram International has announced a strategic partnership with AstraTech, a technology investment and development group based in the UAE. Man, the UAE understands how important this is. All the good companies are going to go to the UAE in like Saudi Arabia and places like that. They're all going to head overseas in the MENA region. Anyways, guys, the chat's been going 15 minutes. Let's end here because I know you don't want to stay over 20 minutes with me just stumbling on words. I hope I provided value today. Please like and subscribe. I'll see you in my next video. Cheers, guys. Bye.